On campus at Turning Point USA, I try to be on my best behavior. The Lord is my witness. If I'm ever in public and these fools act like this against me, I'm gonna turn it into a sleepover. It's gonna be a bunch of people sleeping. I may actually bring a couple pillows so they can all go to sleep together. This video is brought to you by Prison Fellowship Summer Camp. Ladies and gentlemen, this is very simple. And also, I want to thank everybody who participated. We're halfway there. We got 110 kids that are going to camp. Our goal is 250. It's super easy. But let me tell you how you can get involved and help. And this is a camp that's literally going to revolutionize these young people's lives. And these are young kids whose parents are incarcerated, no fault of their own. But Christ has called us to be the hands and feet to help other people, and this is an opportunity. $200 will help one kid go to camp, but if you don't have $200, you can still give. Give whatever God has purposed in your heart, whether it's $1, $2, $5, $10, $200, $2,000, and we're gonna get to our goal. So God bless you, and thank you for the support, and we are going to allow these kids to have an incredible, incredible summer at the Prison Fellowship Summer Camp. Let's go to that clip real quick. So some Christians get accosted by these blue-haired devils. Let me tell you this. On campus at Turning Point USA, I try to be on my best behavior. The Lord is my witness. If I'm ever in public and these fools act like this against me, I'm gonna turn it into a sleepover. It's gonna be a bunch of people sleeping. I may actually bring a couple pillows so they can all go to sleep together. I have zero tolerance for this stuff. Like when I was at Turning Point, I was like, Brandon, if you start knocking people out, which I was really willing and ready and capable and justified by doing. If you start knocking these people out, Turning Point will never invite you to another event. You'll never be able to do stuff on campus again, and it'll shame the organization because people like to see you get beat up and slapped and spit on. They don't like to see you fight back. I'm talking about people at the top. All of y'all would have had my back. These people were so weak and cowardice, I could have dropped all of them by myself. The little weenie on the bike, I could have dropped that one. I didn't have to ball my fist. I could have just backhand that one on the bike, and that would have been one. And I could have went one by one and lined them up, and they all would have been out there with their sign on top of them, snoring and snorting and gargling. That's what they deserved. Why did I say that? Because they were assaulting and attacking people, and I'm so sick of this. Watching people just let them do it. If they protesting, they protesting, bro. I mean, I don't care. You can say, you can call me the N-word. I don't care what you're doing. But when you're putting your hands and slapping and hitting people, can you please defend yourself? They will never, I guarantee you when I'm on campus, they'll never do that again. Not when I'm on campus. Because next time, I ain't gonna be that nice next time. Because I'm gonna look up the laws in the state. Because technically in California, I could have conducted a citizen's arrest. If the cops wasn't going to arrest him, I could have arrested the one that was on that bike that was closest to me. Disorderly conduct, threats and intimidation, assault, theft of property, and damage of property. That's 5 misdemeanor charges. And then if they're using violence to push a political agenda, that's a domestic terrorist organization. That's a felony charge. And they're doing it, and I would argue they're doing it because I was black. I'm a black conservative. They doing it. They arrest racism. They violate my civil rights. Take him to jail. All right, let's roll this clip real quick. She got her baby. Look, the kids crying. Back up.
Hey, fuck you! Get the kid out of here! Get the child out of here!
Oh my goodness. All right, this is the you know, if you ever had a dream about, and I hope y'all don't dream about going to hell, but if you have a vision of hell, that's what it's gonna look like. It's gonna be these same people in there arguing and screaming at each other. That's what it's gonna look like. A bunch of blue-haired devils in there, just straight in hell. God-hating, evil, perverse people. Most of these people are that way. And some of it could be because of mental illness. But this is what they all about, man. You can feel the negative, sinful, evil energy of these people when you're at these events. You can feel the energy of the lack of spirituality and acknowledgement of God. It's like a spirit on them. You can feel it. And they got an expected end. And I'm tired of it, man. I'm tired of watching these people act like this. You know, I wouldn't go to their protests and be arguing with them, but anyway, we got another clip. Roll it.
Russell Johnson is the lead pastor of the Pursuit Northwest Church, and he helped organize both events in Seattle, and he joins us now. Pastor, it's good to see you tonight. Tell us what you saw and heard when things began to develop into chaos and unrest.
Yeah, you know, it was crazy. It started on Saturday with a worship event in Cal Anderson Park. And that event has, of course, been labeled by the media as some sort of anti-LGBT type rally, and it wasn't. That event offered free haircuts to kids, free bike giveaways, free groceries for the community, free prayer for people who were in need of it, and then it also incorporated a worship element at the end of that outreach, and that was when we were swarmed by hundreds of Antifa militants. And I'll only correct one thing in the reporting of your story. They weren't throwing water balloons. They were throwing water balloons filled with urine at Christians who stood in the park and were assaulted for the high crime of worshiping Jesus in a public space. So that happened on Saturday, and then the mayor followed it up. An hour after that event ended, police officers were hospitalized, good church people were injured. He followed that up with a press statement blaming the church for the violence and saying that we are advocating values that are antithetical to Seattle's values. Yeah. So at that moment, Pastor, I decided...
Yeah, Pastor, I'm sorry to interrupt, but a local Fox reporter spoke to one of the protesters to give viewers some context about where they're coming from, about what exactly they took issue with. Check this out.
Today was a very good example of two sides of people trying to be heard. On one side, I saw a lot of hatred. These people that tell us they love us are showing us the opposite.
She's dressed like a rabbit with a slit eye thing. I don't really get that, but you heard her point, that you guys hate them, they feel put upon, and they were just expressing themselves.
Yeah, you know, Antifa is made up of petulant children who are grievance mongers, who decide to perpetuate violence against people that they disagree with. And of course, in a place like Seattle, they are coddled and supported by people like Mayor Bruce Harrell. Their voices are amplified by liberal news outlets like the Seattle Times. And in doing so, it creates a perfect storm that results in violence against people of faith, police officers, and others. And so after the mayor put out his statement and blamed us for the violence, I said we're taking the rally to the front steps of City Hall. And that's exactly what we did on Tuesday. And similar things happened. Antifa was out in force. They bloodied and beat up good church people who stood in line to try to get into a rally to sing hymns and worship songs and pray for the direction of the city. And the mayor put out a second statement, even worse than the first. And he said, well, the only reason you're rallying at City Hall is because you are opposed to the idea that I am biracial. I mean, it's a clown show with these leftist agitator supporting politicians who are so out of touch with, I think, a wide swath of their constituents. And I think Mayor Bruce Harrell terminated his political career by releasing those statements. There was a show of force. Thousands came out to City Hall.
Yeah, well, I scanned the crowd in the videos that I got access to, and it was a very diverse crowd. I mean, I don't understand the biracial comment at all, because there seemed to be a lot of Hispanic folks there. There were some African-American folks, white people, young, old, a lot of families. Part of what the rally was about, I thought, was the concern about the transgenderizing our youth, correct? Wasn't that part of it?
Yeah, and it included testimonies from parents. It included testimonies from people who have detransitioned after succumbing to trans ideology. And it was shared in the context of uplifting, hopeful. God can change anything. Jesus has the power to transform your life. So it wasn't this, Westboro Baptist hateful rhetoric. It was people sharing a hopeful, optimistic outlook on what it looks like when God begins a work in your life.
Are Christians welcome in Seattle, in your view, to publicly express their views if they're traditionally held?
No, clearly not. And in fact, the mayor put that in his statement. He said in the future, he is going to deny religious groups the ability to pull permits to hold similar worship-themed events in public places.
Well,
which
he said
is, by
he's
the
a
way,
Christian.
now.
Yeah, but he says, look, I'm a Christian, and he said First Amendment rights do
Say
need
it.
to be
Say it,
upheld,
preacher.
and that's why
He
you were
ain't
able
no
to go to
Christian.
the park that was
Say it.
A park that had been dedicated in some way to the LGBTQ cause, and that kind of made them upset. But you got the permit to do it where you did it, and it wasn't even your first choice. I know that's too much information for most people, but he's pushing back on you. He said they did get to speak, they did have 2 rallies, and now they're whining about it, basically.
Yeah, after Antifa hospitalized people, after people got hit in the face with urine-filled balloons, after Antifa members performed lewd sex acts in front of children getting free haircuts. Yes, after paying a massive price for the high crime of exercising our First Amendment rights, yes, we were allowed to have some sort of event. And the mayor is so out of touch with the people. And you're right, that rally was super diverse, because here's what happened. When we announced that we were taking this to the front steps of City Hall, I got inundated with emails and texts and DMs from people who are not Christian and not conservative, who were outraged at the mayor's response, who said, you know what, we're going to come stand with Christians at City Hall because we believe in the First Amendment.
Well, this is what Seattle voted for. So you had the demilitarized zone, you had the Chaz, you had all this stuff. This is what the people of Seattle voted for. It's a beautiful city, spectacular natural resources, beautiful. But this cannot continue. Pastor, thank you for sharing your story. We'll stay on this.
Hey, I like that, Pastor. I don't know what he preach at his church, but I like what he had to say right there. I wanna real quick put a picture up of this guy, Bruce Harrell. Bruce, Harrell. Just put Bruce Harrell picture. Because he said something about him being black. I looked him up just right now and I said, I want to see what this, that's him right there. I want to see what this guy look like. I said, I got to see what Bruce Harrell looked like, because he's talking about something about being black. And when we look him up, this is what the man looked like. He looked like he's straight out of the island of Hawaii. Okay. What Samoa, he's a Tongan or something. He black. Who in your family black? Look at him. He gonna make me turn to Joe Biden. And you ain't black. Bro, you ain't black. Everybody like to carry that black thing. You got one person in your bloodline that was black 300 years ago, and now you claim you black, bro. You look Asian. What are you talking about? You look Asian or Samoan or like Hawaiian. You are not black. Why do people use that black card? I thought he was a black man. I was like, I ain't know Seattle elected a black man. They'll never elect him. Well, I ain't gonna say they'll never do it. They'll never elect no black man with some common sense. But anyway, comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think about it. I love you guys. I'm out of here.